Hey, how's it going, YouTube? How y'all doing today? My big plan right now, starting tomorrow, is that I am going to start chopping forage for these animals. Yesterday, I was walking around this field. I would say, well, it ain't rained in about 2 weeks. And I would say this grass is about probably 30% dead. And the grass, this annual ryegrass, it ain't growing anymore. Practically all of it has started to go to seed, so it's just not really growing anymore. I haven't fertilized it in like 2 weeks either. And so I honestly was looking for a window of opportunity to plant pearl millet. So I wasn't even fertilizing this grass because I figured I would have to plow this grass under anyway. And so yep, I was just leaving it alone, and it ain't rained in like 2 weeks. So starting tomorrow, I'm gonna start chopping sorghum Sudan grass for these animals. I'm gonna cut the sorghum Sudan grass and I'm gonna feed it to the animals. And so the portion of the field that I'm going to cut, I watered it by hand with a hose. And so I watered it by hand with a hose just to kind of it hasn't rained in like 2 weeks, so I just kind of wanted the plant I just didn't want the plant to be in any risk of being in any sort of like a drought kind of condition, because I know that I put a good bit of fertilizer on this field. And so I didn't want to risk nitrate poisoning, which is something that happens when the plant enters a drought situation. The sorghum Sudan grass is known for having nitrate toxicity issues when undergoing drought conditions. So the portion of the field that I'm going to cut, I watered it in with a hose, and I'm gonna start cutting it tomorrow. And after I cut it, I'm gonna let it dry for a day or two, and then I'm gonna feed it to the animals just to reduce any risk of prussic acid poisoning. So prussic acid is a different thing than nitrate poisoning. And the prussic acid, I'm gonna reduce the risk of prussic acid poisoning by drying it for a day or two before I give it to these animals. But starting tomorrow, I'm gonna start cutting that sorghum Sudan grass. Yesterday, I was sitting there and I was making a plan for myself, taking a look at the data that I've collected and making a plan for myself. And so right now, with the information that I've collected on the sorghum Sudan grass, I need to anticipate that I'll need 3 to 5 inches of water for me to get 1 flush of Sudan grass. If I got 3 inches of water, I would get enough sorghum Sudan grass to cut. If I got 5 inches of water, my sorghum Sudan grass would practically be growing like with 0 issues. And so up to about 5 inches of water, I think the every drop of water will have a drastic return on the amount of biomass accumulated by the sorghum Sudan grass. And so and when I look at the weather, I was taking a look, like when I make a plan for myself, I need to make a plan for myself according to a time frame, right? And so I was looking at the time frame that I'm looking at, as well as the resources required to grow the hay, and how could I utilize the potential resources for the maximum amount of output. And so when I was looking at when I was making a plan for everything, my big plan right now is that I don't think I'm gonna get much rain in July. If I got a significant amount of rain in July, like even over an inch, I would consider that a miracle. Like I'm not gonna anticipate that I get rain in July. I'm going to anticipate that I get about 3 to 4 inches of rain in June. And so if I get 3 to 4 inches of rain in June, that's enough water for me to grow 1 flush of sorghum Sudan grass. And I also need about 35 to 45 days to be able to give the sorghum Sudan grass enough time to grow. And so when I look at it right now it's the end of May. And so if I start cutting the sorghum Sudan grass right now and anticipate that I'll get 3 to 4 inches of water in the next month, I can actually get a second flush of sorghum Sudan grass before I anticipate the drought situations to occur. And so if I start cutting it now, the sorghum Sudan grass, it may only be 3 feet tall right now, and it may be, you know, and it may be better for me to cut it when it's 5 feet tall. But here's the thing, is that when it's 5 feet tall, the amount of water that a plant needs when it's 5 foot tall versus when it's 3 foot tall is drastically different. So a 5 foot tall plant will need a lot more water to grow, and so the water use efficiency will drop. The amount of return that I get per drop of water essentially will go down. And so if I want to maximize my water efficiency, as well as maximize my output, as well as decrease my costs, etc., there's a lot of things to consider when doing this. It's not just I'm gonna feed these animals some grass. If I cut the sorghum Sudan grass right now, I will have enough time, as well as I anticipate that I will have enough moisture to grow a second flush of sorghum Sudan grass before it gets real hot and real dry outside. And when I get that, when I cut the grass back real low, so if I cut the grass back and then it gets an inch of water on it, it'll grow a lot more. It'll grow back so when I cut the grass back, the amount of water that it needs to survive will drop. And so when it's dry like it is right now, the plant will do better because it will need less water overall than it needed when it was bigger. And so my big thing right now is that I think my soil is drying out, and so I'm going to cut the sorghum Sudan grass back down to where it's just pretty much stubble, to about 3 to 6 inches off the ground. That's going to reduce the amount of water that the sorghum Sudan grass needs, and I'm gonna feed it to the cattle. And the sorghum Sudan grass, it'll grow pretty slowly until the rain hits, and when the rain hits, it'll grow back very rapidly. And I will also have enough time, if I cut my entire field right now, I will have enough time to grow a second flush of sorghum Sudan grass to feed to these animals. And so that's kind of the big idea plan for the next 2 months. Is that I'm gonna cut the sorghum Sudan grass starting tomorrow, and the grass that I'm cutting tomorrow, I watered it by hand today. I gave it about an inch of water today, so that it has time to metabolize that water. And when it metabolizes that water, it will the big idea is that it will reduce the amount of nitrate in the plant material. And then I'll cut it, and then I'll let it dry for 2 days so that it's easier to carry, as well as it will reduce the risk of prussic acid poisoning drastically. And the next time I get some rain, I also need to get this backfield plowed up. And I'll need to go and pick up fertilizer here pretty soon as well. It's been I got maybe a half a ton of fertilizer left. And one thing that I realized about this sorghum Sudan grass is that I have a soil pH of 7.5, 7.7. And this Houston black clay is known for having very good potassium levels. And so this soil is known for having good potassium levels. And when I walk around and I observe my plant material on my sorghum Sudan grass, I'm actually seeing signs of potassium deficiency. And so this sorghum Sudan grass requires a lot of potassium to grow as well. Oh yeah, and the scouring on these animals has pretty much corrected itself too. I ain't seen any scouring really going on, and so that's good too. The manure on these animals is kind of liquidy, but I think it's kind of liquidy because these animals, they've been bathing in the pond to keep cool when it gets hot outside, and then they're drinking the pond water. And I think that the bacteria, and I think that them ingesting that water in large sums is causing them to have just a little bit of diarrhea. But I think it ain't like what I call it ain't like death diarrhea. Like it ain't like coming out of them like a missile. And so these animals are scouring just a bit, but I think it's because of the water. And so starting tomorrow, I'm gonna start cutting the sorghum Sudan grass for these animals. And I'm cutting the sorghum Sudan grass for these animals early because I want to increase the water use efficiency of the plant material, as well as get a second flush on it before the potential drought hits, before it gets real hot and real dry here in Texas. And so I'll be feeding these animals the sorghum Sudan grass, and the field back here is practically done. I need to get this backfield here plowed over as soon as possible, and then I need to get the pearl millet drilled. But I ain't got any rain in like 2 weeks. I haven't got any rain, and so I need some rain. Especially if I'm gonna plow the field, I need some rain. I also got that plow, that sweet plow. I got it about 90% done yesterday. But that sweet plow, okay, so the sweet plow, these sweet plows, they use a particular bolt called an elliptical head bolt. And these elliptical head bolts are like $2 a piece. And I need 2 of them for plow. And so if I need, so I got 9 plow heads. And so that means it's about $40 for me to purchase the bolts. And so when I was ordering everything, I told myself, you know, I don't need these bolts because I can just use the old ones, and so I can just save the $40. And then I didn't order the bolts, and then the bolts ended up being super rusted, and then I ended up having to cut the bolts off with an angle grinder. And so a couple days ago, when I thought it was gonna rain, when I got into that car accident, the day before that, I was like, oh my God, I need to get this bolt, or I need to get this sweet plow ready to go so that I can drill my field. And so I went to the department store, and I found the best bolts that I could, and I found something called the carriage bolt. And so I figured, oh, the carriage bolt, this looks like it'll be just fine. And so I ended up spending about I spent $28 on a set of carriage bolts with some washers. And then the carriage bolts, they ended up not working. And so I actually, you know, I was trying to save $40, and I actually ended up causing myself a $25 problem. And so I should have just bought the elliptical bolts to begin with. I was trying to save $40, and now I ended up spending $65. So I mean, it is what it is, and I mean, I guess it is. I mean, it's whatever. I mean, it's spilled milk, right? I didn't even get my my receipt, so I can't return the carriage bolts. So I mean, it's whatever. I mean, it's fine. Yeah, but I should have just. I always say don't lose $1 trying to save a penny, and I lost $25 trying to save 40. So it just is what it is, I guess. But that sweet plow is just about good to go. I just need to get the elliptical bolts on it. I got the plow head separated correctly. I just need to get the elliptical bolts, and then when I get the elliptical bolts, I'll be good to go. It'll only take me about 5 minutes to put the plow heads on there with the bolts, and then I'll be ready to plow this field. One of my and financially, one of my big plans for here in 2 months is that when I take these animals to market, I'm gonna clear up my credit. And when I clear up my credit, I'm gonna ask the bank for new lines of credit. I'm gonna look for 0% interest lines of credit, and if I can get it for even 12 to 18 months, anywhere from that time frame, I'm gonna get them. And I'm gonna ask the bank for $35,000 on a 0% interest for 12 to 18 months. And then if my bank says no, I'm just going to go to the bank next door. I'm just going to keep going through the banks because it ain't like I'm asking for a pile of gold. You know what I'm saying? I know that that what I'm asking for is not that much. Like I'm you know, if one bank tells me no, I'll just go to the next bank until the bank eventually tells me yes. Because a 0% interest credit line for $35,000 on 12 to 18 month finance is not a big deal. It's a very, 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 very minuscule loan. And so the bank will give me, there will be a bank that gives me the loan. And so, I'm going to get the loan. And when I get the loan, I'm going to purchase one set of cattle from the sale barn. I'm going to purchase a set of #1 heifers from the sale barn. Lightweight heifers from a sale barn. And the reason that I'm going to purchase my, my big reason for purchasing a lot of animals from the sale barn, a set of #1 heifers from the sale barn, is because if I purchase from, I'm just gonna pick up animals from everywhere, and I'm gonna see what animals make me the most amount of money. That's essentially the big goal. I'm just gonna pick up animals from the local ranch. I'm gonna see if I make some good money on them. I'm gonna pick up animals from the sale barn, and I'm just gonna pick up animals from everywhere. I may even go out of state. I may, you know, because I can go, you know, it take me about 3-4 hours to go out of state, and I may even go out of state to pick up animals. And I'm gonna pick up animals from everywhere, and I'm gonna sell them, and I'm gonna see where do I make the most money, and that's what I'm gonna pursue. And so because I don't think that it's that good of an idea to just get all of my animals from one source at all times, because I don't know what people are thinking, you know. Like, what happens, you know, I've seen people sell their soul for $25. You know what I'm saying? Like some people, you know, they will do the most moronic things for the smallest amount of money. And I mean, I've literally seen people who just about sell their soul for $25. And so, I mean, I'm gonna pick up animals from everywhere, and I'm going to see where I make the most money, and then that's what I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna pick up a lot of animals here in about 2 months. I'm gonna get another flush of grass. I'm gonna look to get a flush of grass from this field, and if I get a flush of grass from this field and I get a flush of grass up front, I'll need about 3 to 4 inches of rain. I'll need about 4 inches of rain. If I get that 4 inches of rain, I should have enough grass to feed 35 animals until August, when I anticipate that my rains will pick back up. And so that's kind of the overlooking big picture idea of what I'm looking to do in terms of a plan for these next few months. But that's it for me today, YouTube. Y'all have a good one.